Hello and welcome to another episode of Behind the Scenes. They call me Stepney. Tonight I am joined by Caroline Spence. Caroline, how are you?
Hi, I'm good, thank you. Thank you for inviting me onto your show.
It's an absolute pleasure. I'll give people a little bit of a background. So I reached out to Caroline on, sorry, Caroline or Caroline? What am I getting it right? It's Caroline. I reached out to Caroline online.
Caroline.
And,
yeah.
And she gratefully accepted, and I'll be looking at Raya Films. It's Raya Films, isn't it?
It is Raya Films, yes.
Perfect. And yeah, it was interesting because you're a producer, occasional actor, science. You like a bit of science?
Well, yeah, I'm a producer and a screenwriter. I occasionally do a bit of acting, and I have a lot of interests in science, and that's just a side thing, really. I'm not overly intelligent in that respect, but I do have a great interest in it, and I try to learn as much as I can. But I'm not in the Brian May category. Let's put it that way, or the Professor Brian Cox category. I just have an interest in it, and nature and wildlife and the environment, natural world, and travel, and a million different things that just fascinate me about life.
See, I love nature, and I'm scared of it. Like, as I would be, but as a Londoner, I'm definitely scared of it. But I love watching Sir David Attenborough, and I just think his voice is the most coolest thing in the world. Yeah,
he is wonderful. He is my hero. I did meet him once. I went to a book signing in when I was working in Bournemouth in a previous life, literally last century, and I went out from a lunch break and ran down and got his book, which was The Life of Plants. and I had this very intelligent thing that I was going to say to him, and he was probably going to think how incredibly interesting and intelligent I was, and all I could blurt out was, "I really like your program." And it's like, oh, it was so pathetic. So there you go. That's my, it's my, it's not even a claim to fame. It's just a little side thing of my famous person, what I have met, and I completely blew it.
I mean, it's understandable. He's Sir David Attenborough. He's not just any old random.
No.
He is. I think for all of us, he's grown up. So we've grown up with him, if you see what I mean. So when we were all younger and watching his nature programs to being now as adults and watching his nature programs, and we've seen the evolution of that as well. Yeah, you would. I mean, like I said, he's my number one. I would love to meet him and just say, can you just read me a story, please? Because I just like your voice.
Well, that's it. He's an amazing raconteur. You just sit and listen to him for hours, I should think. So yeah, we've all grown up with him, and yeah, he's a legend.
He is, and he's a pioneer as well. Is from very early when he was with the BBC and what he did with BBC Two and stuff like that, to even now with his Green Planet, Animal Planet, the Great British Isles one that we've just recently watched as well. He does it all, and God, he's seen a lot. He's absolutely amazing.
I know. Oh, what a life! What an amazing life he's had. I actually had in my previous life, I had an aspiration to be him. I wanted to be a wildlife presenter and just be paid to travel the planet and play with animals and trek through jungles and all sorts of different things. And I guess that's how we first started in the industry was making these little documentaries, nature documentaries, where I did my best to impersonate David Attenborough, but no, not strictly, but I just did I channeled my inner Attenborough and did my wildlife presenting to camera, and yeah, it was good fun. It was good fun. Never reached the highest accolades that he has, but it gave us a start anyway.
Not many people can reach what he's done. I mean, it's like I said, it's not just 10 years, it's 10, 20,
He's
30, 40, 50, 60 plus years of wildlife on one end to where it's progressed to. The absolute benchmark.
Yeah.
So we know a little bit about you, but for this next part I want you to tell us who you are. Okay, so tell us who Caroline Spence is. You've mentioned that you're a producer, writer, occasional actor, like a bit of science and nature. But tell us who Caroline is and how you've got to where you are today.
Oh Lord, well, I guess Caroline is, well, yeah, I mean all that, and but in a previous life I was none of that. I was just somebody who was very confused about what they wanted to do, was useless at school, apart from one or two subjects like history and environmental science. And but I've always been very fascinated with writing. I've always been writing. Ever since I was a little girl, I just wrote. And I wanted to write novels and books, but I was rubbish at that. So although, I was okay, but I did a lot of writing when I was a kid and aspired to be a writer, and I never knew what I would do. My mum and dad decided that I should go to secretarial college because that would at least give me a grounding in whatever. So I went to secretarial college, hated it, but I came out with the qualifications, and then I went into work as a secretary in so many different different roles and different jobs, working in admin, working in accounts, working in the defense industry, and it just wasn't my bag, but I kept doing it because it was work. And I was always like a caged bear. I wanted to escape and get out into the natural world and travel and do different exciting things, like become a wildlife television presenter. Which is why I kept writing, because I saw that as a way that I could potentially do that. So I was writing articles and trying to get them published as, writing about natural history, ancient history, evolution, that kind of thing. Okay. And so I kept doing that. And yeah, I guess I kind of, like, after meeting James Smith, who's the other half of Raya Films, we kind of segued into the television, or initially the television documentary kind of production, and then on into feature film. But it's I guess it's another reason I wanted to write was because I have so many different interests. I just wanted to explore those interests and write about them and escape the world of offices and clock watching, waiting for 5 o'clock to come round when I could escape. But now that I'm now that I'm doing what I do, I find all that experience and all that training that I had so useful for what I'm doing now, which I could never have predicted, because I just didn't want to do it back then. But now I'm thinking, I can see, how it's benefited me because being a producer is all about organizing and being methodical and just getting things sorted. It's all about paperwork, but interesting paperwork, because it involves feature films. So I don't know, is that enough about me? Does that tell you something?
Well, yes, it does. It does. It tells us who you are and how you got to where you are. I mean, a lot of people, when when we're younger, we don't get the support we need. I guess it's not every parent is very keen to go, yes, you're going to do drama, or you're going to do production, or you're going to do screenwriting. When you go to your parents, this is what I want to do, they don't usually give you that same sort of great feedback, and they sort of kind of try and push you somewhere else a lot of the time, which is why we end up where we end up, and then we get here. So yes, it does tell us a bit about who you are. When did you find out that when did you feel in yourself that you wanted to go into this industry?
Well, just it's interesting what you're saying there about if you go to your parents and you say you want to do this, that, or the other, they'll say, oh no, well, this is a more safer option over here for you. I mean, I guess I had a little bit of that, because when I was a child, I wanted to be an actress. And so I did all the drama stuff at school, and I took extra drama lessons and got qualifications and stuff. But I never had the courage to tell my parents that I actually wanted to be an actress as a profession, because I just thought, I just knew what their response would be. It wouldn't have worked. And I think they would have laughed at me, and I wouldn't have wanted that. So I guess back then, when I was still at comprehensive school, I guess, I thought that's the kind of that I want to be in this industry. But it took me 20 odd years to actually get into the industry, albeit in a very unconventional way. So, because back then you didn't have film school, and you didn't have, well, I guess this is the 80s, early 80s, moving into the 90s. I guess you did, but it certainly wasn't available to somebody like me. So, I just muddled along as best I could. And then, of course, originally, so at one point I wanted to be an actress, and then I wanted to be the wildlife TV presenter, and then I kind of moved into screenwriting, and then I thought, right, okay, this is where I am now. This is what I really love to do. I just felt at home just writing, because, as I say, I've always been a writer, but moving into screenwriting, I kind of just felt at home doing it, and I felt comfortable, and I taught myself to do it. And I read books, I studied movies, wrote them all down, and just kept reading other screenplays, and then writing, and kind of like just segued into it that way, I guess. So, in answer to the question, in a very long-winded way, I've always wanted in the industry, but couldn't get there in the early days.
It's for me, it's always good to hear when people look back, and that's why that question always comes up, and why I like to ask it is because sometimes people say, it was, I don't know, and then they start talking about it, and they go, actually, it was back when I was 6, 7, 8 years old, and I always wanted to do it, and then we get pushed away, and life gets in the way, and then we get back into it, and it's a process, it's a journey. So it's always a good one.
Yeah, that's true, because I guess it has made me think about that, looking back into my past, and because when I was young, I was very painfully shy, and I was always living in my own imagination. Used to watch all these shows on TV, the predominantly American shows, and just felt it was just another world that was so exciting, and I wanted to be involved in it. And I used to watch and the Hardy Boys and all this stuff, and the Incredible Hulk, the original with Bill Bixby. And I'm showing my age now, but I just absolutely, I just found it was just another world that I just wanted to be, part of, because it was so exciting. And I guess that's why I thought if I could be an actress, I could be part of that world, which I guess I could have done had I had the right kind of opportunities, I guess. But anyway, that's where it all started. Being a dreamer.
It's great because I look at my young self, and I always loved it. I'm not going to lie. Like you, I always loved it. I love watching shows, but I loved watching cartoons, and it was that non-reality of it, of just going, this is just amazing. How somebody put all this together, and then watching lots of shows in a one TV household. And we were a one TV household, so I got to watch stuff that my brother.
Oh, we were.
We still one TV household.
Yeah. I'm a no TV household now.
Nice. See, I said I opted for one, just because if we're watching something, we could watch it together, and those sort of moments were always some of my fondest moments of watching things like Hale and Pace and lots of comedy stuff, and Dave Allen. Harry Enfield,
loved him.
Only Fools and Horses. Dave Allen was absolutely classic. He was the best, just so good. But yeah, that's why when I speak to people about their influences and looking back, and you talk about all the different things, it helps shape who you are now, if you see what I mean.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course it does. It's you mentioning those old shows and sitting together and watching those shows and laughing together, especially at Dave Allen. Yeah, absolutely. It's nice. It's nice. It's precious, isn't it? So it's nice to do that. It's a collective enjoyment.
So what sort of things? Let's talk about some of the stuff that you've been working on. So how many different things have you written and put out?
Right. Well, we started off doing documentaries, so natural history and historical documentaries, and then moving into feature film. We've shot 6 feature films now. But they are all very, very low budget, micro budget, zero budget. We keep trying to climb up the ladder to get bigger budgets, but it's just, it's the times have changed, and it's very hard to do that. It's not impossible, of course, but we found just by we spent many years trying to get proper money to make our first film, and it took many years. We got stung quite a few times with some rogues, so in the end we thought, sod it, let's just go and make a film anyway. And we made our first debut feature film. We shot it in 2015, which was Do Something Jake, and we shot that on a zero budget, which means that it was just like we spent money on food, a bit of fuel, and some bits and pieces of expenses. That was it, and that was our debut movie. Ever since then, we've enjoyed this freedom of just scraping together whatever money we can find, and just go and make films, because otherwise we'd still be sitting here trying to get proper money for film, and we wouldn't have made anything yet. So that's how we what we've done, why we've been able to shoot 6 feature films so far, is just we've been able to pool everything in house and think outside the box and able to make these films, get these films made, and we've just gone ahead and made them without having to be answerable to anybody other than ourselves. So our first one was Do Something Jake. The latest release is Cast and Kill, which is available on Amazon, on Tubi, people, and then our next release is going to be a comedy, Best Geezer. So we shot all 6 films are all very, very different from each other. We got thrillers, we got comedy, we got horror, we've got mysteries. So yeah, it's a right old smorgasbord of different genres going on.
I like to hear that that you're not just sticking to one theme, and you've mixed it up a little bit. You touched on the funding part, and I do like to speak about that, because there'll be plenty of people like yourself that have struggled with funding. How do you get funding how do you get funding, and how difficult do you find it getting funding?
Well, all our funding so far has come from crowdfunding. And crowdfunding is obviously grown hugely over the last decade, and also, or even longer. But it's become, a real accepted way of funding a film, even if it's seed money or a portion, or one portion of the whole financial plan, the whole budget. It's a very accepted way, and people have raised some very, very good money to make via crowdfunding to make films. I mean, some people raise stupid amounts of money, like hundreds of thousands. That's not us. We haven't got such a big remit we haven't got such a big network, so we haven't been able to rake in that kind of money, or even tens of thousands. So, it's, our crowdfunding has been on the very low side, but we've been able to eke every little penny out of what we've earned into getting. And it is hard. Crowdfunding is hard. It's a full-time job. When you set up a campaign, it's a full-time job. You've really got to throw everything at it. And it's not just about posting on social media. It's about emailing people and being really annoying and saying, please support our campaign. And sometimes it's a stroke of luck. I mean, you can, some people say, oh, you just go to your rich relatives or your rich friends and they'll give you the money. But one thing to learn about crowdfunding is the people with the most money can be the tightest, and they won't give you a fiver. The people with less are the most generous. But there are also people that come out of the blue from nowhere, and they're just like, say, oh, I'm just bought an executive producer perk. Here's a big chunk of cash. And it's just amazing, how generous and lovely people can be out there, complete strangers. So it's great, but it is hard work. And then there's, of course, the traditional side of funding that is a whole other can of worms. And you've got to be so careful. You've got to be so careful because there's so many rogues out there, and they can talk the talk, but they don't ever deliver. So you can waste a lot of time talking to people that say, I want to invest in your movie. And then when it comes to pinning them down and talking seriously about it, sometimes it doesn't happen. So
it's
swings and roundabouts.
It must be an absolute minefield.
It is,
just to try and get the money. Is what the only reason I talk about the funding is because for those that are not in the industry and are listening to this, the reason why people ask for funding is so that people can get paid. Everybody wants to work. Yes, people can pull in favors and stuff like that, but ideally people want to get paid. People like yourself, who's written, produced, and maybe even acted in some of your work. You want to get paid for your time. You can't just live off.
Well, that would be nice. It hasn't happened yet, but that would be nice.
but that's my reason for talking about it, and to explain the complexities around it and how difficult it can be. And yes, there are people that want to promise you the world and then they just don't deliver on it. And then, as you say, you've wasted time. And again, that would be money, because that you're constantly going back and trying to contact them and pin them down to something particular. It's a lot of effort. So that's why I like to talk about it. And if anybody's watching this, fund their films.
Fund us. Yeah. You know, always up for talking to people. You never know. There might be some philanthropic person out there who wants to strike up a dialogue.
Hopefully.
We all producers. Yeah, producers are always scraping around for money. So there's a lot of us out there.
So we talked about some of your past projects. Let's talk about some of your now projects. Casting Kill. Tell us about this project. Tell us about how it came about, what your thoughts were behind it, and yeah,
Casting Kill is proving to be a very interesting production. It was first pitched to me by James. So, you know, because we said, right, let's make a film that is just in one location and it can be shot really cheaply and just a few cast members. And this is the problem I've always had, is that I've always tried to shoot in one location with a few cast members, and I'm not very good at that. I just like keep expanding things out and out and out, and, you know, more plot points and characters keep popping up, and I think, oh, we maybe need to expand these things out to another location over here. But anyway, with Casting Kill, I really, really made a very hard effort to get this thing done with one location, and I eventually managed to do it. And so it was James's idea, but and he wrote down the bare bones of the treatment, and then I turned it into a screenplay, and it went through many iterations, depending on the locations that we had, or that we were trying to get. Excuse me. And so we eventually found these fabulous locations in central London, and we shot everything in one subterranean studio in Hatton Garden area. And but luckily this studio, it was a photographer's studio, but it had all these like really interesting nooky cranny places. It had this really creepy alleyway out the back that was like something straight out of Jack the Ripper. And then, you know, these just these lovely old iron, lovely old iron steps coming down from the main street level into the basement, and that was really nice. And just all sorts of really cool corners that we could like shoot in, and then we shot some exteriors out in a very historical yard, Bleeding Heart Yard, which I understand has been it's got a lot of history behind it. It's been mentioned by Dickens and all sorts of things. So we shot this film all in one place, and it follows the story of a Hollywood casting director who comes to the UK and holds this kind of like roadshow for actors, open auditions for actors to come along and try and get a role in a Hollywood movie. But obviously this guy is not the full packet, and he's a bit of a psycho. Well, he's very much a big psycho, and he's a very complex and uncomfortable character. But the reviews we've had of this film have been really, really fab. Been very, very relieved, and everybody's talking about this main character, how, you know, completely psychotic he is, and how, you know, he switches from charm to psychotic, and he just turns out to, you know, like to murder people on the side. So, you know, it's along those lines. It's a horror film, but it's not a slasher. There's no blood and gore. It's more inspired by the works of Hitchcock. So it's more of a intimate, you know, rather, you know, kind of suggest rather than show the actual horrors that are taking place. So it's not one. It's a good one for people who like horrors, but they don't like all the blood and guts and stuff flying around. So, but yeah, we've had some great screenings, we've had some great reviews, and we've couple of weeks ago, we learned we'd just been nominated for the National Film Awards in Best Independent Film, which is a big. I don't know if you've heard. I don't know where this. I don't know where this came from. I don't even know how you get nominated, but we got nominated for these huge awards that are taking place in London, where all these, you know, A-listers and big Hollywood movies have been nominated. And so I really don't know how this happened. I'm still trying to process it. It's amazing. So it runs on a voting system. So here's my plug. It runs on a voting system. So if you go to nationalfilmawards.org and vote for Cast and Kill in Best Independent Film, I will love you forever, and we will, all of us, be hugely appreciative, because we're up against some big players in the industry. So yeah, we need all the help we can get if we're going to have any chance of getting anything, getting a prize. So yeah, that's the latest, very surprising, very, very welcome kind of turn of events for Cast and Kill.
And as a feature film that's been nominated, well done, first of all. Come on, have some of that. It's people must vote. Okay, so I'm gonna make sure people vote, and I'll vote myself, and I'll post a link so that people can know where to go and vote. Yeah, I like a good horror film. I'm not gonna lie. It sounds like a thinking person's horror film, which is good, because again, we can all see the blood and the gore and everything else, but sometimes using your own imagination is you can imagine what's going to happen. So yeah, it's good. And yeah, I don't know how you get nominated either. So whoever nominated you, or however you got nominated, you know, if it's one particular person that done it, well done. We massive respect to that person. But if not, yeah, no, that's amazing. What about future projects? What future projects have you got lined up?
Right, well, we got the next release we're going to have is Best Geezer, which is our comedy, which again is one of these films that I just went overboard with the locations and cast. Shot on even less money than Cast and Kill was shot on. And let me think. Yeah, so this is, we've actually got, we were very honoured that we've been asked to screen the film at the closing gala of the Southend Film Festival, because this is a film that's set entirely in Essex. So it's a very British comedy, very Essex, and it's about three hapless entrepreneurs who join together to make a geezer movie, because their icons are all these crazy geezer movies where everybody's kicking each other's heads in, and you know, these British crime gangster flicks, and they want to make one of these films. And so this is a story of how they go about to do it. And so we've been asked to screen this film closing gala of the Southend Film Festival, and at the opening gala of the Southend Film Festival has got traditionally has a lot of very famous names pitching up. The main feature is a Ray Winstone film that is being screened in the Odeon Cinema, and ahead of that film, our trailer will show. The filmmakers, the director is Stephen Moyer. I don't know. I keep forgetting where he was famous. He was an actor in one of these very, very successful vampire series. And I honestly can't remember what it is. I should have looked it up. But he's going to be there. We're all hoping that Ray Winstone is going to be there. He will be there if he's in the country. He's a patron. Yeah, he's a patron of the festival. So, yeah, he's hoping. But, yeah, so that's going to be the screening of Best Geezer is going to be on the 11th of June, which is not long to go. So only just under 2 weeks. And so we're going to be screening that there. And then next up to shoot is The Finca, which is going to be shot in Andalusia in Spain. And we're hoping, if all goes well, that we're going to shoot that in the autumn this year, at the end of the summer. So, and that again is kind of like a psychological horror kind of genre. Again, finally, one location and very few people. So we're going back from the enormity of Beskiza, which was huge. Was trying to claw back and do something smaller, but and a completely different genre again. So that's what's coming up in a couple of months. Well, end of the summer anyway.
That's fantastic. I mean, hopefully Ray turns up. So Ray, if you're watching this, we want you there. Please be there. But it's, like I said, I talked a little bit about the comedies that I watched when I was younger, and most of the things I like to watch are comedies. I do like, other genres. I do like a drama. I do like I didn't think I liked sci-fi, but I do. It was just quite surprising to me. I don't ask why. It just was. I just never thought I did. Like I said, the psychological horror is also very, very good because you have to be involved in it. So I don't know if you remember that program. I don't know if you would have watched it, but there was a series called The Serpent on the BBC, and based on a true story. And although you don't actually see anything, it's all very much implied what happens. And that was good because it wasn't fast paced. It was very slow paced. It was very well thought out. And I like that sort of thing. So let's look out for Beskiza at the Southend Film Festival. If you get a chance, it's worth a good watch. But we will watch out for the Southend Film Festival for Beskiza, and later on in the year, end of summer in Spain. That's a nice location. We'll look out for your other one.
There's lots going on. I have to say my brain is all over the place at the moment because I've seem to be juggling so much, and I've got promoting Cast and Kill and doing all that over here, and then Beskiza coming up over there, and then the Finker going on. I don't know where I am at the moment.
Why I like speaking to producers and directors is because once an actor's done their bit, that's pretty much them just going, okay, I'm done. You guys have to. There's a lot more that still goes on behind the scenes, if you see what I mean. So it's a good one to talk about. So if I ask this question next, hopefully it will lead on to another question, which was, what is life like behind the scenes? What is it like? Is it quite lonely? Is it an enjoyable experience? Is it about a lot of long hours?
It's definitely not lonely. You are surrounded by people, and it's you all rely on each other. Everybody has a very specific job. Sometimes you got to cross over. It's like me, for instance. Because we work on micro budget projects, I wear a lot of different hats. I'm the screenwriter, I'm the producer, I also I'm the audio technician on the boom, and I'm a caterer and trying to organize actors and stuff. And so it's definitely not lonely. It's like, the true description of working behind the scenes on a film set is like you're herding cats. You're running around doing a million different things, trying to get everybody together, but they're all off doing their own thing. It is great. It's a great feeling. When you're on set, it's like I don't know. In the early days, I think I probably found it quite stressful, but now I'm just like grown into it, and it's kind of cool. You kind of just get on with it, and because I'm a very organized person, I have to be. I have to be organized, otherwise I just can't cope. So everything's methodical, and I'm very bad at delegating. I need to delegate more. So I have to do all the scheduling myself and the call sheets myself, because I'm the one that knows the schedule better than anybody else and knows who's who and who's due on whatever day. I would like the day to come where we've got a much bigger team and I can delegate more and just sit around and maybe have a coffee and point and suggest things. That would be nice. But I think I'd still be busybody enough to get stuck in and have to do other things, organize things. So yeah, it is each film is very, very different. I mean, Cast and Kill we shot in 6 days, which was completely nuts. And so it was a bit of a stressy film shoot because we were so behind schedule on the first 2 days. And then we were all a bit worried about, because it was coming out of the COVID lockdown thing. So we were all a bit worried about people coming down with COVID and shutting down the whole production, which is why we scrabbled to get it all done in 6 days. So that was a bit stressy. But on the Best Geezer shoot, it was shot over 5 weeks, maybe 6 weeks. So laid back, such fun. Everybody was just mad and crazy, which was great. And we had such fun, and we've never laughed so much. I've never laughed so much on a film set in my life than when we were shooting Best Geezer. Just in complete stitches most of the time, which was a bit inconvenient when you're trying to shoot things and you can't stop laughing, but it was such fun. And then, you know, when we wrapped that shoot, it was like, oh no, we've got to stop now. This is not fair. You know, we all want to carry on and do something else. But so that was great. So yeah, working behind the scenes is very, very gratifying, and I would recommend it to anybody. Even if you're an actor, go behind the scenes and have a go, because it's great fun.
I like your enthusiasm, and it's good to hear that you're enjoying the process, because what you don't want is, yes, we understand that it's stressful at times, and when you're behind 2 days behind on the 6 day shoot, you're thinking, oh, how am I going to get this done? But it is good to get the other side of it, where you're relaxed and everybody's having fun and laughing, and you know, everything's just working out, and there's good times and there's bad times, I guess.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, it does help that, you know, on Best Geezer we had such an amazing team. You know, the actors were amazing. The crew were amazing. They, you know, just everybody was amazing. I guess that's an Essex thing, maybe. They're just like, everybody mucks in together, and I don't know. It's the first time we made a film in Essex. So so far I'm pretty happy with the experience.
As an East Ender, you'll find that a lot of people from Essex are from the East End. So yeah, that's why we're all up for everything. It's like, hey, come on.
Yeah, that's cool. We had Londoners come down as well to work on the film, and they were great. Yeah, probably East End as well. So everybody, yeah, this whole neck of the woods was good fun.
Good. And what do you think about the industry as a whole? What are your thoughts on the industry? Is it a good industry to get into? Is it something that you'd recommend?
Yeah, I would recommend it, because I mean, it's almost like an industry in 2 halves, or even in 3 halves. You know, you got the big bucks over here, and they do their thing over there. And then you got the more independent guys over here, you know, kind of like innovating and coming up with new and improved ways of making films on a shoestring. And I think there's, no matter what you've been trained as, if you've trained as something in the past, you know, even if you're a seamstress or a cook or a builder or something, you know, you will always have a place on a film set. So if you love the movie industry and you want to get involved in it, there's going to be a place for you on the, you know, on the crew. So that's my opinion anyway. I don't know. I've taken my secretarial experience, my admins and all this stuff I used to work in, and taken that and put it in to what I'm doing. So yeah, I would, if you don't like the 9 to 5 kind of life, you like to be traveling different places, meeting new people, trying new things, I definitely recommend the film industry. It is challenging and it is hard. I guess it is hard to get into. And sometimes it's difficult to know how to do it, especially if you come into it late in life, like I did. You know, I came into it in my 40s. So definitely wasn't trained for it. Never went to film school or anything. So, but I think there's I don't see why there shouldn't be a route for people, for anybody wanting to get involved to, you know, in the film industry to get involved in it. So I might be wrong. Maybe I'm just a dreamer and I don't know the hard realities of how to do it. But I know a lot of people who have come into it having had previous careers. And, you know, just got to learn to work, you know, accept that you've got to start from the bottom and work your way up. But that's cool. It's all about learning, isn't it? And experience.
This will go straight into the next question, and I'll go back a little bit on something that you said there. Yes, you can start at the bottom and kind of work your way up, but it doesn't happen so much over here, unfortunately. So, for example, if you're an essay, an extra, they don't like you to be an extra or an actor to go to an actor. So lots of actors will go, well, I need on-screen experience, but they don't want you to do essay work because they won't count it and they kind of frown upon it. And lots of big productions require you to have some sort of acting experience, gone to a good drama school or something. So like I said, it leads into this question. What do you think the industry needs to improve?
Oh, Lordy. Well, I don't know. I mean, it's interesting what you were saying there, though, about, you know, some actors don't think that being an extra, they're not worthy of being an extra or something because they want to get straight into the paid acting roles. That shouldn't be a thing. They should. I mean, if I was serious about being in a time, I'd just want to get any experience I could get, whether it was paid or not, because it all helps me and it helps my confidence and it helps you get contacts and you can network and you can, you know, you never know where that might lead. I mean, I've never been on a big movie set, but I would really like to, even just as an extra, or I don't know, just sitting there and watching, you know, I'd just happily do that because I'd love to learn and get experience. And as I say, you know, you never know who you might meet, and it's all about making contacts. So there's that. As to what the industry needs to improve, it's difficult. I mean, there's a million things. I'm going to come away from this podcast and think, yeah, that's what I wanted to say. But I think it's all about opportunities, I guess. Oh, I think, okay, one of the, and this is going to be controversial. Well, one of the things in the UK is as far as, sorry?
We like a bit of controversy.
Oh, cool. In the UK, for actors, there's a lot of casting directors who will only look at actors who have a spotlight profile. Now, I think that's really wrong and really restrictive because not every actor who has a spotlight profile is, you know, going to be the next, you know, going to be brilliant, or there's going to be a whole slew of actors over here on IMDb who have got some great credits and some great experience, and they're very, very talented. But just because they're not on spotlight, they won't get looked at by these casting directors. I think I'd like to see that change, or the attitude change, because, you know, I don't know how much it is to be on spotlight, but It's, you know, I've heard some actors say that they've paid all this money to be on Spotlight, but they've never gotten any jobs from it. So I mean, I'm not on Spotlight. I'm not an actor, real actor, so I don't know. But this is just what I've seen that other actors have said. But as somebody who casts, I can't, you know, I'm like the casting director at times for our films. I don't care if you've got a Spotlight profile. I actually prefer that you've got an IMDb profile, because that helps the film and the production. Because if you're trying to sell a movie later on to anybody on the planet, and predominantly in America, they're going to say, okay, let's look at this film on IMDb and see what their cast is. So it's and if half the cast haven't got any actual IMDb profiles with photographs, they're going to think, well, these people are nobodies, and it doesn't really show your film in the best light. So we're always looking ahead to selling our film and also, you know, promoting the cast as well. But that's just my 5 cents worth about, you know, this country in particular, Spotlight.
But that's why I asked the question, and that's why I talked about that particular thing, is because lots of I've spoken to actors and stuff like that, and I used to be an SA. I used to be done a bit of acting, did a bit of SA work, and it was always frowned upon that you were an SA, and you was like, okay, well, surely you should just be able to progress. You're asking actors to get screen, movie, TV experience, but they can't get that because they're not on Spotlight and they're not getting the opportunities. Then how do they get that experience? And you sort of go, if they go in as an SA, as an extra, then they'll get that experience and they'll know how to be on set and how to do those things. And over here, I find it very bizarre. As you said, in America, you work your way up. You start off as an SA, you get all different credits under your name. A good one is Samuel L. Jackson. You know, he's the hardest working man in Hollywood, probably. But you know, little things, and then now he's headlining blockbuster movies and Disney things and stuff like that. So, you know.
Yeah. No, I know it is crazy. I completely agree with you. Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot that can be improved in the UK film industry, just from what I've observed. So that's definitely one of them. I don't see why there should be a stigma about being an extra or a supporting artist. I don't understand that at all. That's crazy. But I would, you know, because you can get potentially be a supporting artist on a movie, and then, you know, maybe somebody will pop up and say, okay, can you come over here and say these 2 lines, you know, and you get some lines, and then, you know, it just helps. It helps everything.
That's my thinking behind it. Is not everybody is going to go to a drama school and you know go down that route, and A, it could be for financial reasons, and B, you know, not everybody is class mentality. So you're not able to go into a classroom and go, I'm going to learn here, but they've always had the talent, if you see what I mean.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
And that should ultimately be what sells somebody. You know, if you want the best people, then you get the best talent, and not everybody that goes to a drama school, for example, is going to be the best talent. Yes, they are talented, but they might not be the best talent for a particular project. And you know, it is what it is, I guess.
Completely with you on that one. Definitely.
I'll lead into this last one, and it's because it sort of follows on from what we've just been talking about, and this is more aimed at people like yourself, producers, directors, screenwriters, and stuff like that. Should we have a small screen channel in the UK?
What do you mean by small screen? Sorry if I'm being a bit thick.
No, you know what? I've not worded it well, and that's kind of on purpose. But by small screen, I mean,
aren't you?
It's the independence. It's the independence, and people that make short films, feature films that have had little to no budget. Should there be a channel that showcases these things?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. That's a brilliant idea. Yeah. A short answer is yes, 100%. That would be amazing. I mean, you've got in the USA, you've got Tubi, which until recently, until Fox bought it, a lot of smaller budgeted movies like mine and a million other people, they've been able to show their films, and you know, they've been watched by millions and millions of people in, I think, Tubi screens in North America, Australia, New Zealand, and they've had that. But Fox have bought it out now. They're pushing everyone else out with their bigger, more mainstream movies. So what we need is like a Tubi for the UK, but where you don't get bigger corporations muscling and getting their bigger budget on screen. So I think that would be a brilliant idea. Yeah. So let's set this up.
Like I said, I've had the idea for years, and it's one of those things that I would love to do, because there is, like I said, there is so much talent out there, so much talent, and lots of people like yourself, is you don't necessarily do it for the money, you do it for the love of the art. But it would be nice to actually get that recognition where you can say, well, this is where people can go and view it, and not just it's on this website, or it's going to be shown at this particular festival, and it's going to be shown in America, News Australia, and places like that. It'd be nice to have it here, just so that people can go, this is what my hard work has done. So when it does come to things like crowdfunding, for example, you can go, well, it's on this channel, and you can go and view it yourself. And then when you got another project, people will go, okay, well, I'm actually interested, so I can go and view it.
Yeah, that would be great, because you know, when a lot of my contemporaries, you know, at this kind of like level of filmmaking where we're all piling in and having a go, and as I said before, we're innovating. I think we're the driving force of indie film. You know, they're all making films because they love to do it, and because they're driven to do it, and also to make a wee bit of money would be nice. And they're making some great stuff, and there's a whole slew of independent filmmakers out there that you know, would definitely be interested in that, for sure.
I've coined it. It's mine. So yeah, when you see it out in a couple of years, you can go, oh yes, I did that.
Trademark
it. Finally, give us a pro tip. What's a pro tip for somebody starting out in the industry?
You got to work hard. Don't sit back and think that something's going to fall into your lap. It's not going to. You've got to be really, really, really 100% into communication. That's the key as far as I'm concerned. If you can't communicate or keep in touch with people, or respond to emails or whatever messages on social media in a timely fashion, and you're going to lose opportunities, I think. So communication is key. Hard work is key. Don't be disillusioned. I mean, you are going to get knocked back time and time again, but you just got to keep optimistic and keep hopeful, and don't be put off by haters. There's a lot of haters out there. Just keep on plowing, and get used to the hard graft, because it's rewarding in the end when you actually, even if you get a little success of something, some little success, it's like feels great. So keep going, it will be worth it.
Pro tip. Good. Caroline, thank you very much for joining me. It's been a pleasure. It's been an insight. I look forward to. I might even pop down to the Southend Film Festival if I can, because
yeah, do.
like I said, I'm an East Ender, so do you know what I mean? This pop down there.
Oh, come on down. You'll have a good laugh. Meet the gang.
Yeah, I think I might just do that. When is it, to say that people know?
Well, our film is screening on the 11th of June. The whole festival starts at the opening gala, which is the 8th of June, and then through the weekend to Sunday the 11th, which our film will be the last big film to be shown.
Perfect. 11th of June, Southend Film Festival, casting kill. Oh no, sorry, best geezer. God, get it right, Steve. Come on. Caroline Spence.
Best geezer, 8 p.m.
Thank you very much. 8 p.m. as well. God, look,
Thank you
I'll
so
get
much.
it all in there. Best geezer, 8 p.m. 11th of June, Southend Film Festival. Caroline Spence. They call me Stepney. This is behind the scenes. Thank you very much.
Ciao.
Bye.